Good morning, everyone. How's everybody? I'm so happy to be here. Just to let everybody know that in about 5 weeks, our company is going to be doing home inspections. The beauty that you have with our company is that when we do a home inspection for you, is that we are going to let you know all the things that a house might have in problems, but also to give you quick estimates on what needs to be fixed. A lot of times as realtors, you're doing a home inspection and they might say, you have to change the water heater, you have to fix this wall, you have to do the roof, and you really don't get a clear answer of how much it would cost. We're going to give you that accessibility that within 24 hours, we're going to give you an accurate cost and amount. So when you have that buyer that might be a little bit afraid, you can say, no, this is what it'll cost, and we'll even three-way on the phone with you so that they can feel more comfortable, because sometimes that buyer needs that little extra vote of confidence that everything's going to be okay. I remember when I was 25 years old, I was buying a property, and I think I would have bought the property if I would have had a little bit more confidence, if that realtor would have told me to give me more accurate costs instead of scaring me. We're not here to scare people, we're just here to tell them the truth. If you have your sheet, I just want to go down really quick and then we'll let Jan start. Our companies also provide estimates on roof, heating, cooling system, doors, windows, solar panels, landscaping, pool equipment, exterior wall coating, and painting. So we are your one-stop shop. So again, anything you might need, feel free to give me a call. I have a lot of, you could ask Angie, who's videotaping the event today. She works with me in the administration department. We get a lot of calls, but we really do want to help you out. And I want you, just like ourselves, to love what we do, because if we truly love what we do, working together as a team, we're going to get more business. And there's different things. I received a referral from a real estate agent who had us build a brand new patio. So we went and spent and got 1,000 postcards for her. We paid for it. On one side it said just sold, and on the other side it had our information. So we really do want to do that win-win team with you. And if this is not for you, or you're working on another project or something else, I would definitely love referrals. We get a lot of referrals from a lot of real estate agents because we really do need that support. People really don't know. Our job is tough. You know, realtors' jobs is tough because it seems like everybody is in a competition, but I want to be part of each and everyone's team, and any ways that I can give you advice, I'm here to help you out. I want to thank you very much, and present Jan to do his presentation. And any questions at the end, feel free to give me a call, text me, email, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's give a great hand of applause. Richard, provide the food. Thank you so much. So, thanks everybody for coming in. Let's just start with a show of hand. How many of you have dealt with a reverse mortgage in your escrow so far? Like, ever had a reverse mortgage in your family or in your own escrows? Just a few show of hands. So that's great. So reverse mortgage, believe it or not, is going to be a lot more popular, and it's because the baby boomers, you know, they bought their homes, they built those equities, and now is the time to tap into it and use it. And so we're going to delve into the details. So here's just my email and info, and you all have my business cards on the handouts. So if you go to the next slide, so just a little bit about me. I just became a dad. That's my little one on there. So I'm a babe. So, and you know, I'm pretty involved in doing interacting with the realtors, real estate offices, what they need, you know, do different classes and seminars with them. And but what I want to highlight is I want to get the escrow closed for you. So it's about teamwork. I'm a kind of person who is going to be working when you're working. Like on that Sunday or Saturday when you're showing the house and you want a lender, like pick up the phone and help you pre-qualify and answer a question. I won't be a 9-to-5 guy. I'll be there, pick up the phone, and be there to work with you. And we will do that all throughout the escrow. So, so just as I mentioned, reverse mortgage is becoming a lot more popular these days. It's you'll probably see a lot of family members or your clients. They'll start asking about this program, and with market changing, this could be a great resource for a lot of us. So let's go to the details. So first, what is reverse mortgage? A lot of people, I'm sure there's a lot of misconception about reverse mortgage. Like a lot of your clients might say, oh, if I get a reverse mortgage, that means bank is going to take my house. How many of you think that's true? No one. Because it was true. It used to be like that. What happened was FHA, our lovely Federal Housing Administration, took over the reverse. So now reverse mortgage is a subcategory of FHA, right? So it's government. And that's why they call it HECM, or Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. That's under FHA. And that enables the senior citizens, by that I mean over 62 years old, to tap into their equity, and not just for cash out refi or get a line of credit. A lot of us wouldn't know that you can use that for purchases. I'm actually doing that right now. I'm helping a client that the realtor is listing their bigger home, they're downsizing, and then they're using the equity to purchase in their new home with a reverse mortgage. So you can truly use reverse mortgage for a purchase transaction. So so they can tap into their equity. We can be very creative. I will discuss about some of the examples that I've done in the past where thinking outside the box, we could get an escrow close. Like the client would never be able to buy a house. So let's go to the next slide. So basically, I want to talk about the details a little bit further. So again, 62 years old is what we want. Like if they're married and one is 62, one is 60, it's okay. But they will bring down the loan amount if someone is, like one of the couples, like one of their spouses is younger than 62 years old. But that's okay. They call it a non-borrowing spouse, and that's totally fine. But ideally, above 62 years old for both borrowers, and they will be the only ones on the loan and title. So the way reverse mortgage works is not like a normal conventional or normal FHA loan where they get a cosigner or non-occupant cosigner to qualify, because qualifying based on income is not as important. It is still there. I'll talk about it. So the payment, a lot of people say, oh, reverse mortgage, that means you don't have any mortgage payment. It's true and not true. True in the sense that yes, you can choose not to pay any payments, but the payment will be there. The way it works is, on a normal forward mortgage, you start from, let's say, $300,000. You start making payments, and within 30 years, the payment will be zero, right? Like you'll pay off the loan. But on a reverse, you start from the bottom, the $300,000. You start adding on the interest payment and the mortgage insurance payment to the loan. So your loan is growing as you're going on. But the thing is, you can choose to make payments. No one stops you from making payments. I have clients where they tell me, hey, can you tell us how much you would need to pay in order for our loan not to grow? And I can totally do that. I said, this much interest, this much mortgage insurance per month, and your loan will stay the same. You can treat it like a forward mortgage, and by forward mortgage, any loan other than reverse mortgage is forward mortgage. So pretty much all the other loans are forward mortgage because you're going forward to pay off the loan, whereas reverse, you're adding to the loan, right? So basically, the answer is yes, no payment is required, but the payment will still be there. It's not that the lender is giving you or the client free money and they don't expect the payment, but the payment will be added. But the rates are FHA rates. So that's for that. And then what calls a loan due is when they no longer occupy. Again, it's an FHA loan, Federal Housing Administration loan. So what it means is it's a primary residence loan. That means they live in the house as their primary. They can't be just renting it out, or even if they need to go to a hospital or rehab, they can't leave the property more than 12 months. The lender can call the loan due. So it's a primary residence loan. So that's for that. And then they still need to maintain the property, pay their taxes and insurance. That still is required. And then, again, you need to reside there. If there is a gap of 12 months or more, then the lender can call the loan due. And then the title, the borrowers, who are the senior borrowers, they are supposed to be on the title and on the loan. What I usually recommend to my clients is like when they have when they're senior and they want to get a reverse, I said right after close of escrow, you might as well create a trust, create your beneficiaries and everybody, and then no one stops you from recording. First you get it under your individual name. You could even get it under your trust, that's fine. The only thing is when you're getting a reverse mortgage under the trust, the lender wants to review the trust and an attorney letter that has the trust has been verified and is looking okay. It's just extra paperwork and cost, but a lot of clients choose to take it under their individual name right after close of escrow, take it into the trust. And what it does, it saves them a lot of time and hassle, and especially the heirs, because if they pass away, that means there's no probate court. The trust will take over, so that's really a great piece of advice. We tell your clients, those who already have a reverse mortgage or those who are about to get a reverse mortgage, recording it after the fact of the trust or during the fact, that's a great piece of advice. So that's for that. And then you always make sure you upkeep the property, and of course when you sell the home, another misconception. They say when you get a reverse mortgage, the bank owns your house. Who thinks that's true? Yeah. But the way, when someone asks me that question, I say, it's true on any mortgage. Basically, when I get a house and I have a loan, I'm the one on title, but the lender, even on a conventional loan, they will record a note or a lien on my property. So yes, any type of loan, that means they are they're partially owner of the house. But the only difference with reverse is, on a normal loan, you start, let's say, with $300,000. That lien is going down. Like in 10 years, it's probably $200,000. Whereas in reverse, it's the other way around. You're adding on to the loan, so your loan is growing. But the thing is, on the reverse mortgage, they created a lot of restrictions, so they don't allow you to tap like 100%. They always want a very good amount of equity in your house. So, and your home is appreciating. Let's say even at 4%, 5% nationwide, your loan to value, even with a growing loan, you'll have a ton of equity, right? So the bank will never take the house, and there's also a great clause, which I will also discuss later down the slides, if we can go to the next one. So the maturity of the loan, what happens when the loan, or when does the loan mature? So that's a good question. A lot of people ask, like, how many years will I have a reverse mortgage? The answer is the good answer, whereas. Oh, you have a question. Sorry. Go ahead.
You may be covered. You mentioned that you were working with someone that was using a reverse mortgage to purchase some property.
That's right.
Okay. Are you going to get into that? Because I want to understand that. But you're going to get into that.
Sure.
Okay.
Don't hesitate to stop me anytime you have a question, and we'll also have a detailed Q&A at the end as well. But yes, I will talk about the purchasing of the reverse. Yes, please.
I did have a question, but I wasn't sure you were going to take it at the end.
Or I can take it now.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want you to forget it.
It was on your slide. This is real quick.
Sure.
All right. The mortgage, and you said it's FHA. Like today, maybe the mortgage is at 5.5. So if it was a reverse mortgage, what is the percentage?
Of the, you mean down payment, equity wise, or the rate?
The rate.
Oh, the rate. Okay. The rate, it's flexible, because with reverse, you have few options. You can choose to do a fixed rate. You can choose to do an ARM, and then there will be differences. If you choose to do a fixed rate reverse, that means your rate will be fixed throughout the life of the loan, and usually it's below 5% right now, or 5.125-ish. So that's 4.875, 5.125. That the rate of the interest being accumulated on your house. But what happens is, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Real quick,
Sure.
let's say I wanna buy I sell my house and I wanna buy 4 units. What's the down payment? Is it 25% or
No,
30?
it's at least 40%. 40.
40%?
40%, that is correct. So reverse mortgage.
On a reverse mortgage is 40%?
Yes. On reverse mortgage, I will go to the details of that also. But on reverse mortgage, you need a ton of equity, and that's how FHA guarantees and assures there will be a ton of equity because your loan is growing, right? So they want to make sure you start with a lot of equity in the beginning, so 10 years, 20 years from now, you still have equity because they calculate the appreciation of the home, and so they want you to start with a good equity. Yes, 40% is
For the units? Anything?
any.
So I might as well just buy regular FHA, owner occupied at 3.5% down.
That is true, but first of all,
And keep my money in my pocket.
of course, but if you can, I always say if you can qualify, like we didn't get there yet, but if you have a client where they qualify for a forward mortgage, FHA, conventional, but not hard money, not the private money, not the strong high rates stuff. As long as it's conventional, they qualify with their income, you know, they have enough income to support, yes, why not? But if they don't qualify, the folks you're talking about, they're 62 years old, I mind you. Most of them are retired, they have a small retirement, and the monthly payment they're making is not enough, or they rather use it for different purposes. So that's why it's a different category of clients, or those that they want to benefit from this program. I call it a retirement program. It's something you have a house-rich, cash-poor client. They're not making a lot of money anymore. They used to, but they have a beautiful home, and their option is to sell the home, go rent, or buy a very small home, but they rather live in the home they love and live. They raise their kids there. So there's a huge benefit there. But not everybody. Like, I wouldn't get it because, you know, I could potentially qualify, but there's a lot of benefits there. And I kind of lost track. I was talking about your question. So did I answer your question? Pretty much. So you were saying about the rates. So
well, it had to do with, like you said, that your payments, since you're not making any payments, and
it just grows.
and it's growing.
Exactly.
So my question, because clients do say, oh no, I don't want to reverse mortgage because the interest rate is too high.
It's not correct.
And
So
that's why I wanted to have
Exactly.
clarity on
So
that.
so on any given day, your fixed reverse mortgage rate is probably like 0.5% higher, maybe, than normal FHA, or a little bit more because on a normal FHA they get a lot of credit towards closing costs. But closing costs on reverse is just their upfront mortgage insurance, which they add to the loan amount, and usually $6,000 of origination fee. That's the max, right? So because it's an FHA loan, there are two types of mortgage insurance there. You have upfront, same like FHA, which is added to the loan, upfront PMI, and then monthly, and that is also added to their loan. So they're not making those payments. But that's usually about the cost they have. And of course they have title escrow fees, like whatever the title escrow provides. So again, going back to the rates, fixed rate is slightly higher, but the drawback with the rate is you will be cashing out the max amount you can claim the first year, right, under fixed. Because what happened was, FHA, they created this new rule because a lot of kids push their parents to get reverse and they didn't know what it is. They put a restriction. They said first year there's a max, which is about 60% of what you can get. 60% of the 60%, basically, of that your max loan. They allow you to take out the first year, and then next year you will be able to cash out the second, the remaining. But with the fixed rate, you don't have the second year. You're just getting the lump sum. So you end up borrowing less, or if it's a purchase, you end up putting more down, right? Whereas on ARM, you will get the max first year, and then second year you can also tap in because it's a line of credit. And then also, the mortgage insurance is based on what you borrow. So Usually ARM gets you the better rate and gets you the more money. So usually the purchases I do or refinances, it's adjustable. The rate is lower, of course, but it could go up, but it's still FHA loan. So that's about the rate.
Excuse me.
Sure.
You said a PMI would be put on there, so are you assuming that the LTV is higher than 80%?
No. Same like
So why do you have a PMI?
it's FHA. FHA, whenever the loan is FHA, like let's say on a normal FHA. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if someone puts 50% on a forward FHA, they still have the upfront and that's the new ruling.
Right.
And it even makes better sense for reverse. And that I wanted to keep it for right here, where on reverse, there's a great protection clause for the seniors. That's under reverse mortgage only. That's the only loan I know that has this protection clause. And that is, it's right here. I think it's on the next slide. Right here, sorry. Right here. It's a non-recourse loan. What that means is, at the end, if the house is upside down, meaning that there's no equity, they pay the lesser of 95% of home value or the loan amount. Meaning that if their loan is $500,000 at that time and their home is $300,000, they pay 95% of $300,000. So the heirs can always reclaim the house. So that's it. On a normal loan, the lender will foreclose on the borrowers. If, let's say, on the normal loan, the loan amount is $500,000, the house is $400,000, they have to foreclose. They can't just pay the lesser. But on reverse, it's a non-recourse loan. So that's a great, and that makes sense why FHA wants you to have mortgage insurance, because they're sort of insuring all these loans. And then yes, same. So, we covered this. So let's go to the next slide. So now let's go to the part where what is the benefit, all right? So here's the meat and potatoes for the real estate side. What can we get out of reverse for our clients? Who wants to close more escrows? I want. Everybody, hopefully. So basically, the goal is to close more escrows. I started with this example. I had this partner realtor with me, that he had this client, had no down payment, and he had a very good income, but he wanted to buy a house. So when I pre-qualify a client, I go through all the options and all the ins and outs and come up with ideas. I realized the son, his parents have a house with very little loan, a lot of equity. So I came up with the idea of doing a reverse mortgage on the parents' house, cash out, give the cash to the son as a gift, and purchase his first home. So what happened was, my partner realtor closed that escrow. The parent of our mutual client loved it because they were barely making the payments. It was really hard. They were seniors. It was hard for them to make the payments. So they got to get a reverse. They didn't need to make payments anymore. And so the family members benefited, and the son bought his first home. I refinanced his home twice already, and he bought it in Inglewood. He already made like $150,000 on his house. He bought it at $400,000. The first refinance we did a few months ago, a year ago, it was $560,000 appraised for. So everybody won in that scenario. So another example on a refinance side, I had this 81-year-old lady. She was getting a divorce because her husband was going with another younger lady. But the sad part was they had a Down syndrome kid, and she had to keep the house. So what we did, they had a small loan. We did a reverse, paid out the husband. She kept the house, and she doesn't need to make any payment. So I always say a reverse mortgage is a solution-based loan. It saves lives. Like out of 20, 30 people that call me, perhaps a few of them, this is designed for them. Like that lady that asked the question, I think she left, if you qualify for a forward mortgage, yeah, why not? But if you don't have any option, your other option is basically a hard money. You know, it makes total sense. So again, no payment required. It's huge for some of the seniors. Like a lot of them, they barely make you know, health expenses. They want to travel. They want to enjoy life, and this monthly payment, even as small as it is, could be hard for them to make. So this helps them, liberates them from that, and then you know, they can use their retirement cash liquidity. It's true, yes, we need 40% down, but still, they can buy a house. A lot of them have that money as equity in their other home. They want to downsize. You know, you can use that to basically help them purchase something that works for them. They don't have any payments. They can just enjoy their life. So leverage of liquidity, even if they don't have like a big annuity or payment. Yes, please.
So can you get a reverse on your house and then buy another house, take the cash out, and have a reverse on that as well?
No. Reverse mortgage, as we covered in the beginning, the first part was okay. You can get cash out on your primary residence and then purchase an investment home, right? But the reverse mortgage, you can only have one, and that's on your primary residence because it's under FHA. Yeah. but the first part you can cash out and buy your first investment home with the cash out you buy. That part is okay. But the second part, where you use that for another reverse, that won't work. Unless you first sell the first one.
In order to qualify initially for a reverse mortgage, does your FICO score make a difference, or do you have to qualify just like any other?
Great question. We will cover that in the detail next slide, but that is not important. The credit score, I still need to check, but it's not a determining factor in qualification or not. I will go in details. Let's go to the next slide. Basically, so again, this is in the benefit part. You get access to new markets. Then also you can you know, something new to real estate agents. You can become the reverse mortgage expert in your area. Chances are you have a client where all they can do is reverse mortgage, and they're just calling realtors to see who is comfortable with that. So a lot of realtors say no. So if you are the one who knows it, you have the tools to do that, you'll be their realtor. So that's a good marketing technique, good way to help your clients, good way to help them get what they want. And then also, you know, seniors want to age in their place. That's a big factor. Like for that client that they raise their kids there, they don't have income, they can't afford the house anymore the way it is right now, they can get a reverse and stay in the house. So have your cake and eat it for the first time.
Can you do a reverse on units?
Yes, up to 4 units, same like FHA. One of the units should be owner occupied, the rest can be rental. So yes. And then markets like untapped. So again, a lot of baby boomers are coming to the age where they can use that, and it's a great untapped market. So let's go to the next slide. So property. I usually tell my partner realtors, all I want from you to make sure a reverse deal could even be possible is just two things I need from my partners. First is their date of birth, the borrower's date of birth, right? So let's say you have a client, Mr. James and you know, Kathy. They want to get a reverse mortgage, and they're your clients, and they start talking to you. The first thing is making sure they're 62 years old, but I do need their exact date of birth. And if it's a cash out reverse, I need to get the exact property address. But if it's for a purchase, all I need is to make sure, because it's an FHA loan, it's a single family home, SFR, or FHA approved condo. So if it's a townhome, it's a nice townhome, but it's not FHA approved, it's not going to work. But the good news is, which I have done that also, is we can get that complex or unit FHA approved. It's not that difficult. So as long as the HOA agrees to go through the process, which is usually provide their paperwork, HOA documentation to FHA, and they can hire, you know, an FHA approval company for, like I would say, about less than $1,000. They can send it, review everything, send it to FHA, and get it approved within less than a month. So let's say you have a listing, right, and you want to make sure it's FHA approved. You can have the seller, with the help of the HOA, get it FHA approved, and then get FHA clients, also reverse clients. So again, so it's single family home. PUDs are okay. PUDs are like planned unit developments. They are like SFRs, but FHA approved condos. Again, 1 to 4 units are okay. 1 unit should be owner occupied. No to manufactured homes. Basically, for manufactured homes, even for a conventional loan, if it's not, if they don't own the land, we call them a vehicle. So I don't really do those either. And then second homes, no, it has to be primary residence. New construction is okay. Certificate of eligibility should be issued before docs, but that's okay. And then, you know, any repairs must be done if they're doing repairs from the cash out of a reverse mortgage request for repairs. This is somewhere our normal conventional also. Usually the repairs, they don't want to involve the lender. They always want to do a non-recurring closing cost. So lender doesn't want to step in and check the repairs. And then home inspection is not required. For the lenders, they want the appraisal. Appraisal is a big thing. We'll have the process in the next slide. So let's pause here. Any questions so far? No? Oh, please.
You want to talk some more then about being able to use a reverse mortgage to say purchase a property?
Correct. So let's just discuss that in a little bit more detail.
Okay, so how do you handle that?
Sure. And your question?
What's the normal closing time?
Closing time?
Yeah.
Sure. So that's closing time is usually you're looking at from the day appraisal is ordered. I can close within 1 or 2 weeks. It could be really fast. But I will show you the process. Back to your question on the purchases. What I want is, again, their age, like exact date of birth, and they're making sure they have the down payment, enough down payment. And then the way it works is because an FHA loan, they cap it within the conforming range. So the max loan amount I usually see on a reverse, an FHA endorsed reverse, is in $300,000 to $400,000 loan amount. So that means you know, you're looking at 500,000-ish purchase prices, and you're making sure they have at least 40%. Like I have the clients I mentioned for the example that they're selling their more expensive home, buying a cheaper home. They're buying 500,000 and they're bringing 50% down because they're getting a fixed rate, and also because they're 62 years old exactly. If they are older, they can borrow more. So all you would care for is to make sure they have the down payment, and I can verify that. And at any moment, whenever you refer a client to me, I will get their age or date of birth and their information. I will prepare a code sheet with all the details, explanation of everything. One of the other requirements is a counseling session. So this is also an important factor. You probably have heard it, that for someone to get a reverse mortgage, they need to do a counseling session by an FHA counselor. So the reason behind that is government wanted to make sure no one is pushed to get a reverse mortgage by the kids, by the loan agent, by anybody. So they want a third party, which is an FHA counselor, go through they can do it over the phone or Skype and do the class, and they will go over all the details, answer the question. They send them a package first, and they can do it over the phone for 1.5 hours, and then they give them a certificate. That means they know the reverse mortgage, they know it's right for them, and only after that certification is when we can start an escrow, like order the appraisal, get the FHA case number, and we will. So usually the biggest time-taking part of the puzzle is this counseling session. It's very easy. You know, I will, in my code package, I will provide a list of all the approved FHA counselors in the area. All they need to do is just call them and schedule a class with them. Usually they range from $150 to $200, and then they get this certification.
Okay. So then what they're doing is they're purchasing the property first, and then they're getting a reverse.
No, they're getting it at the purchase. The loan is gonna be a reverse. So they're putting 40%, let's say, down, so the loan will be a reverse
So,
one.
okay, so the loan is gonna be the reverse.
Reverse.
So that you can, but I think I'm still missing something. So the loan is what they're using for the deposit on the purchase?
No, the deposit is their own
It
funds.
still has to be,
Yeah.
okay.
It could be equity from another house they're selling, in my case, for that example. But it could be, they have 400,000, 200,000, whatever, in their bank account or retirement. They use that as down payment, and they get a loan, a reverse loan, to purchase. So, like, imagine you were getting a conventional. They were putting 300,000 and getting a conventional loan. So they're getting 60% of their house as reverse mortgage.
So basically, the only benefit is the fact that they purchase this property and they get the reverse one. They have the option of not paying on it.
Yes.
Okay.
And they also don't need to qualify based on their income, which is usually their case, right? Because a lot of them just have a small social security income or very little to qualify. On a normal conventional, if you make 100,000 a year, you qualify for a few hundred thousand purchase price, right? So they don't need to worry about that. I still need to get their tax returns and information, but it doesn't matter, please.
I was just gonna piggyback. I have a friend that did that. They sold a house in LA and they bought in a 55 community out in Beaumont. And they took the cash from the house they sold and they used it to buy in that brand new house in Beaumont. And they have no mortgage payment.
Okay.
And they are tickle pink.
Okay, so that was the other thing I was going to say. Okay, so if someone chose to do a reverse mortgage, they took the cash that they got from the reverse mortgage, and then say maybe a year, month later, they decided that they wanted to go in and buy some property. Then they could, sell the home that they're in. They could choose to do that. Say they did that, and they sold that, and with the equity from that, they were able to pay cash for the property that they bought, and then they could go on and pay off the reverse mortgage, and the same thing again, they be clean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can do it many ways. Like, let's say someone, right before your question, let's say someone has a reverse mortgage on their house, right? Already have one. They got the reverse, they cashed out. So the cash is in their bank account. What they could do is sell that home that they have a reverse mortgage, buy another home, get a reverse mortgage, use the cash that they cashed out as their down payment. You could have another scenario where someone doesn't have any home, or they sold their home, but they have a lot of cash, 40% or whatever. They can buy a brand new home as their primary on their reverse. So it depends on their scenario, but reverse can be used for purchase. It doesn't necessarily have to be a cash out. They can even, like your example, you could cash out and buy the next investment property with investment loan, or have your son or someone co-sign with the borrower. So reverse can be only used once for one single primary residence, like a single family home or an FHA approved condo, but it could be in different ways. Good question.
Can you do a 1031 exchange on this also?
You could, yeah. It's just you gotta make sure that a counseling session is already done. But I take it back. The 1031 exchange is for investment only. That's the catch. So no, because reverse is a primary residence property. So I'm gonna take that back.
John, really quick.
Sure.
So I have an uncle who lives in Santa Monica that has a house worth $2 million. It's paid off.
Sure.
He's 62. Can he reverse mortgage on $2 million?
He can, but the max loan amount will still be in the 300,000, 400,000 range. The reason being, the FHA will cap the value at 679, 650.
Oh, got it, just like a regular.
They want you to borrow little.
Got it.
The whole idea for FHA to be able to endorse all these loans, because back in the day it was conventional or private lenders, rates were high, banks were taking the homes. FHA is going to do it the right way.
Got it.
You only borrow just a conforming loan, no matter how expensive your home is.
Okay.
So this way you can afford to add the loan. There's always be a ton of equity, and this is only catered for a very little loans that people have, or they need a retirement source of income. The whole idea is that's why even if the home is $3 million,
Yeah.
Your loan will not be like 2 million, it will be 300, 400,000.
Okay, so with this amount that they're lending, the 700,000, say,
It will be equity.
can they get some cash of that?
No.
Nothing?
If they do an adjustable, every year their line of credit grows. Like the first, second year, they can tap into that equity as time goes by.
Okay.
So in a way, yes, adjustable will help them get a little bit more, but it won't be too much higher.
But the fixed is fixed and you can't touch it?
Yes.
Okay.
So he can benefit from it if it's free and clear, but it's not like he can get a $2 million loan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. So let's go to the next slide. So the credit, okay, this is also important. I always say lenders look at a ICE, which is income, credit, equity, right? So, okay, how about credit? The credit is not a determining factor, right? And right before April of 2015, it was totally irrelevant. You know, I could just have no tax returns, nothing, and get someone a reverse mortgage. But after April 2015, FHA required that we make sure we check the credit, we get their tax paperwork, their income, to make sure they can afford their taxes, property taxes, and fire insurance. And if they can't, it's not too bad. They just withhold some money, meaning that if they could borrow $300,000, they would just they do something called Lisa, life expectancy for what taxes and insurance could be, and then they lend $25,000, $30,000 less to the borrower because they want to make sure they pay taxes and insurance when they become due. So it's not that they charge them interest on the money they haven't given them, but as they pay for taxes and insurance for the borrower, they add it to the loan.
So it's like escrow?
Escrow, impound.
So
Impound or escrow.
they're gonna pay their taxes if
And
they,
insurance.
and their insurance.
Yeah, insurance. If their income is very little. So the reason, I still need to check their credit. I mean, bankruptcy and stuff like that, they are like FHA, and it could be some flexibility here if there's a good reason of like a letter of it. I just had one, a client had a discharge on credit cards and so much, but it was due to a divorce. We wrote a lot of letters and it worked out. But rule of thumb is like, you know, chapter 7, 3 years, 11, discharge date 3 years also, you know, housing, mortgage rates are allowed, but no major delinquencies. And still we can work on, you know, the explanations and saying like FHA 3 years here, then, you know, we look 2 years tax returns. It doesn't disqualify them, just triggers the impound account. So again, income and credit, which are two challenges on a normal conventional, they won't be the challenge for a reverse. Another reason for someone, yes please.
What if there are any tax liens or anything like that?
That could be worked out too, as long as you can explain. A lot of times they want those paid throughout escrow, but it's still something you can work on. I mean, the income and credit is not your biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is making sure the age and the loan amount works out, and then the rest we can work together, because I can help clients to clean their credit sometimes, like letters of explanations, deletion letters, and stuff like that to figure it out. You have a question?
So they have collection, charge-off, and balances, and they're purchasing.
Sure.
That will have to be paid off in escrow?
Depends. Depends on how it shows. Sometimes it doesn't show on the credit. You know, some new ruling is like it shows. Yeah. It is. Do you know how much it is?
No, I'm saying most cases when
Okay.
it does come up, it's because
Sure.
it is on the
Of
credit.
course. If it's on the credit, a lot of times it has to be paid. Sometimes if there was a mistake, or we can get a deletion letter or write letters or explain why it happened, lender could give exception. Usually what happens is if they do the exception, they will definitely mandate the impounds, meaning that for sure they will require escrow account, or they will lend them less to have some money for left aside for taxes and insurance. So chances are we could get it done, but with the impound. Yeah. Any other questions so far? Let's go to the next slide. All right, funds. Okay, so funds you can use Bitcoins only. I'm kidding. So any type of funds you can use, that's fine. Like for that 40%. But the thing is, this is a federal law that lenders have to source funds. So sourcing is not something related to the bank system. It's a requirement, right? So sourcing, they can't just bring a suitcase with cash, right? So it has to come from their account. Usually you want 2 months of the statements there. But if it's from the equity of their house, it's easy, you know. So it's not as regulated or as tough as for a conventional, but you know, you can use you know, money orders, checks, cashier's checks, and stuff like that. Or instead will not be allowed because mattress money. Yeah, but cashier's check, the reason is like if the cashier's check is like a cash, they got a cashier's check and they want to deposit. What I mean is it has to be deposited into our account and we can source. Like even Bitcoins, what we would do is they're totally okay. They just go back from the day they purchased the Bitcoins and make sure they had bank statements showing the money was there, purchased the Bitcoins. The Bitcoins are sold, they're back to US dollar, we can use that. So as long as I can paper trade, basically the bottom line is they can use their funds. Yes.
So you guys would not use credit cards against them?
Oh, you mean for monthly payments?
Well, yeah, you guys say credit cards.
They're not going to be, yeah, it's for the DTI, debt to income ratio. You know, on a normal conventional, what I mean is like, let's say someone has a monthly credit card of $50 on this card, $1,500 on that card. The DTI is not that important.
No, what that says is for a down payment. So let's say they take out, I don't know, 100,000 if they have a credit card with that high limit. You guys wouldn't use that against them?
No, you can't use that. No borrower funds. This is the bridge mortgage or retirement account, credit card, etc. It says no. So borrowed funds are no.
So that's for down payment.
Say that again?
That's referencing down payment. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So it's a two. I was just discussing about the debt to income ratio, but this first bullet point, it says you can't borrow money as your down payment.
But the reverse mortgage technically is a mortgage.
Of course, but down payment cannot be a borrowed money. Because when you're getting a reverse mortgage, the mortgage is borrowed, but your down payment cannot be borrowed. That's the deal. So if on any other loan, let's say one of the first questions on the application form says, is the down payment money borrowed? The answer should be no. So same here, the down payment money, not the loan, the down payment money cannot be borrowed. Cannot be a credit card. They can't go tap into their credit card, use it as down payment as that 40% for their purchase and get a reverse mortgage. The down payment money can be given from their kids, but cannot be borrowed from a credit card. That's what it means.
And not from a retirement account.
The retirement, you can. That's your own money, but you will pay. This one, it says the retirement account, yeah, in a sense that if it's a borrow, but if you are of age where that's your money and you can cash out, you can. But not, the whole idea is borrowed. Yeah, the term borrowed is the key.
I thought the money, okay, we're talking about perhaps an elderly couple that has a lot of equity and they get a reverse mortgage and they want to help one of their kids purchase a property.
Sure.
So why would they get money from a retirement account or a credit card or anything like that anyway? Isn't the money to help the kid buy the property coming from the reverse mortgage money?
You'd be surprised how the clients become creative sometimes on what they want to do. But just
they want to come up with more money for a down payment?
Yeah, something, yeah, they want to like add, you have these kids pushing their parents to get a reverse mortgage for them to be able to purchase a more expensive home. Or install that beautiful kitchen counter that they don't really need, or that thermal oven. So the whole idea here is like it has to be their for their purchase beneficial to them. So that's where the idea comes from. So they don't want the parents go under like all these hassles just if it's not for their purchase. So borrowing money on their credit cards is not down payment. That's the bottom line. Any other questions? No? All right, let me just squeeze here and go to the next slide. So here, so there are also, this is a common question we get asked, where who pays for what, right? So the buyer pays for the owner's title insurance, same like any other loan, and then home warranty if they want to, if they need it. I mean, they usually have to. Disclosures, termite inspection, home inspection, any inspection, HOA transfer fee. So those are the typical buyer's fee. And seller's fee, pest control repair, any repairs, disposition fees, or which is like if they have a developer fee or a rent fee, they have some joint fees. Usually this is for brand new developments, these two. And then the buyer or seller transfer tax is negotiable, whatever they negotiate in the purchase contract. Escrow fees, they usually pay their own share, and cannot be split even if customary. Whatever cannot be split or customary that they can share, that's fine. So basically what they end up paying is the owner's title insurance always paid. So the concessions basically from the seller cannot cover those fees, the first box. All right. Okay, so here is a typical reverse mortgage flow chart, if you will. So they do their counseling, which is the very first step. As of course, after we check their age and we went through the package together with them of how much they can borrow, if it's a good idea and that works out for them, then they will go and pay for that counseling session, get a certificate, which is good for 1 year. So they can take 1 year to find a house. Then applications and disclosures, we do the FHA case assignment, order the appraisal, and then from the rest will be very fast. We submitted the conditional approval, and then clear to close funding. So I've closed reverse mortgages in less than 2 weeks after the appraisal. Yes, please.
What's the fee for the counseling session?
It usually depends. There's a list that they can shop around, but they charge usually $150 to $200. They can just choose whichever one is cheaper or available.
And they got
A credit card or whatever, yes.
I think FHA should cover that.
Yeah, their argument is like, they want you to get that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I was understanding that reverse mortgage takes 50%. Will only give you 50% of your home. So if your home is $600,000, they're gonna give you $300. Is that what we're
It's
talking
not
about?
correct, no. What FHA gives you, it could be even 60%, or it could be 40%. It depends on the purchase price, loan amount, their age. So that's the quote package part. When you give me their age and the purchase price range, if it's a purchase, I can give you exactly what sort of loan they can get, like the max claim amount that they can get on their fixed and on their ARM. And this way we would know, okay, this is the max loan they can get depending on their age and the purchase price. Please.
Okay, so what's the max based on the age? Say somebody 80 years old.
Sure.
What would be the max?
I would say the max FHA loan is $453,100, which is the max of conforming. That's the oldest and that's the highest. Usually what I see on the reverse mortgage is in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. I've seen where it's like $200,000, $280,000 if they're doing a fix and they're just 62 years old. So usually the loan amount is not that high. It's a small loan amount, but still a decent amount for that $600,000 range.
So if say your home is worth now $800,000.
Sure.
And you get a loan for $350,000 to $400,000.
Sure.
So the rest of the money, the equity just stays in your property?
Correct. Yeah. If you get a second down the line from someone else, that's fine. Theoretically, you are not supposed to. The FHA wants to be the only lien on your property. So yes, the rest is equity on your house. Yes.
Okay, so say for an 80-year-old, reverse mortgage, again, that would probably come out in account. Say an 80-year-old that had a property that was worth $1 million.
Sure.
The most that they could get was still about $400,000.
That is correct.
Yeah. So yes.
Doesn't matter about like how expensive the property
Yeah,
is.
so somebody like that, they do better off just selling their property.
Depends.
As opposed to
Yeah, but if they have a small loan, I have cases
I
where.
mean, you know, that's what if they have a small loan.
Yeah, or they need the money. Like the 300,000, they can choose to receive it on a monthly basis for the next several years. They can choose to get a $2,000 direct deposit into their account for their reverse. That's also another option. So it's sort of a complementary income for them sometimes, or they have a very small loan, and even though the loan is very small, because when they get it fixed, the payment doesn't change, even if the loan is very little. So they're paying like $1,500, $2,000 a month for a small loan. Getting a reverse and pay that off, sort of, they don't have to worry about that monthly payment, which is most of their income.
Okay, and they can still do the lump sum,
And
the
just
monthly payment, or a combination of the two.
exactly.
Okay,
Please.
so I have someone that like their home is worth about 800,000.
Sure.
They owe probably like about 250.
Okay.
And, so if they're 80 years old.
Sure.
So you said the max they could probably get out would be 53.
Depends. I can get their exact age. You give me the property address, I can give you exactly how much they can borrow.
So with that loan,
They pay off the first loan, and then the rest they get it as a cash out.
is that separate from possible for you?
No, that's all together. Total. You're talking about total loan. Paying off the first, the remainder was just their net cash out.
And then at that point, they would have a payment separate for taxes.
Correct. Unless they impound, which they don't even need to pay that also. If they,
So in a reverse mortgage, then you can cash out?
of course, a lot of people do that.
Up to what you said about around, maybe up to, depending on their 300, 400, correct?
Correct. I mean, if they already have a loan of 200,000, their cash out will be just half of that.
Okay.
And then if they go fixed, they will just cutting half, like getting half of what they can.
So let's just say in a scenario where they get 200,000, they reverse mortgage and they get 200,000 cash, correct?
They don't have any other liens?
No.
Yeah?
Okay, so then they can take 200 and they can buy another house in Riverside,
Sure.
San Bernardino, Palmdale, Lancaster.
Yeah.
So then that's where we come in as real estate agents and say, go to Jan, and let's get you another property, now you're gonna own 2 properties. Instead of 1.
Buy the second one cash, or buy the second one with your kids, or whoever is buying investment. So basically, the parents would partner with their kids, or whoever is buying the second house.
And you can still save some of that money.
Of course.
Yeah.
So this is a good, like for the example I provided, the parents, they gifted the money to their kids to buy their first house. So in a sense, the reverse cash out was used for another purchase. They invested in their kids. Here's please.
So you said 40% is the down payment
Minimum.
when they're purchasing.
Minimum 40%.
Is that based on age?
Yes.
Okay.
Age and the purchase price. So like in my example, if they're 62 years old exactly, it's probably closer to 50%. But if they're older, then yes, it gets closer to 40%. I can send you make sure you give us your business cards and emails. I will send you a cheat sheet of give you an idea of the purchase price, their age, and how much they can borrow. But I can also, on any given day, when you give me a scenario, I can tell you exactly, based on this scenario, based on this age, this is the max. So I can do that. I will send you that cheat sheet also.
I have a handout. It says it's 63% down. Does that sound about right to you for age 62, the minimum age?
How much down?
63%.
Could be less.
So it's less.
Yeah, could be less. But 60% is usually the max. 60% loan to value is meaning that 40% down is the minimum usually you will see on a reverse mortgage if they're really low. Yeah. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, misconceptions. Let's talk about facts. So first we talked about this. Bank will take my home if I get a reverse mortgage. True or false? False. We talked about it. Reverse mortgage means there is no mortgage payment at all. False. There is, but you can choose to add it to your loan and not pay. But there is a payment, but you're not required to make that payment, which is a benefit to a senior because it might be hard for them to do that. Then anybody can qualify. False. You have to be 62 years old. The property has to be. The next one is all homes with any equity are eligible for reverse mortgage. False. It has to be single family, FHA approved condo, a pod, and then there has to be a certain amount of equity depending on the age of the borrowers. The subject can be investment property. False. It has to be primary residence. So,
Excuse me.
sure.
You just said, for that slide, it's single family or whatever, and this gentleman said if it's a duplex or 1 to 4,
Sure.
as long as you're living in it.
One of the units. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That's same like FHA.
Okay,
Exactly.
just a minute.
So SFRs for 4 units.
Got it.
Yeah, you're living in one of the units as your primary, but the other 3 can be rented. Yes. Next slide.
Jan, really quick,
Sure.
what was a pod again?
Pod is planned unit development. Usually it's like a single family homes in a gated area, no attached walls. There is a small HOA, usually for gardening.
Or sometimes
You,
not.
yeah, sometimes not.
Yeah.
Just you pay.
Because I live in-
Yeah. You will see that a lot in Orange County or San Diego, in some areas here, obviously, in PV, Pasadena, yeah. It's a small HOA, but that's just for very little, but that's, you're buying a single family, but there is a HOA. But there it is considered a single family, therefore, if a reverse mortgage works. So no restrictions on that. So what is crucial to you? So this is part that I just wanted to bring out to you as realtors. I partner up with realtors, and what I can do for you, like work for you, is do the pre-qualifications, cross-qualifications. You have those clients that you're not sure, they have a bank pre-approval, that you never saw the source of funds or their down payment, and you're not sure about their credit. I would be more than happy to check their income, credit, down payment, make sure they're qualified before you start spinning your wheels, showing them houses, and realize they're not even qualified. Or if you have a listing and you're getting offers, with multiple offers, and you choose one, you get in escrow, and then second, third week in escrow, you realize the loan cannot go through. I'll be happy to be the second guy, lay eye on the other lenders' work. They don't have to go with me. I do that for a lot of real estate offices and realtors. Just a plan B. And you'll be surprised how many times we need plan Bs or even Cs. Please.
So traditional reverse mortgages, when you were a senior, you pull out cash for whatever reason to live or do
Sure.
whatever, and you didn't pay the mortgage. With this, if you pull out cash and you have another property, can you use that to pay down?
Of course.
Okay.
As long as you're living in the house that you have a reverse mortgage.
Got it.
Exactly. You can't get a reverse and rent it out
Got it.
and be very creative. And the only loans that I usually see that there will be some investigations are the reverse and FHA pretty much is right now the only one who's really enforcing, making sure people are living, and VA. But conventional, they're not as strict. Yes, please.
I know you say you can only do it on one home, but let's say you got a married couple and both of them are 62
Sure.
and they qualify by themselves.
Okay.
So can one do it on the existing home and then the other one do it on a new home?
I love your idea. I'm very but the thing is, because it's FHA, going back to FHA, let's say on a normal FHA loan, if there are two, the husband and wife, they're supposed to have one primary residence, unless they're separated or divorced. And guess what? On a normal FHA, I even need to check the non-qualifying spouse's credit also. Meaning that, let's say your client, husband and wife, buying this home with a normal FHA, right? Just the husband is going on the loan. I have to check the wife's credit and hit them with DTI with the wife's debts. Because FHA is a community loan. Same with reverse. If they're married, they're living together, they're supposed to have one primary residence. So the answer would be no. Same for normal FHA, and reverse. Forward FHA doesn't allow you to do that either, unless it's conventional. Yes, please.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So, can you explain how it works with, I think you use the term non-qualifying spouse?
Sure.
So say you have,
Non-borrowing spouse.
yeah, so say you have a couple and one is over 62 and the other one is not.
Sure.
They can still get the loan, but how does that work?
Great question. I've had cases where I had a client, he was 79 years old, and his non-borrowing spouse was 29 years old.
I wasn't talking
That extreme.
So we call that non-borrowing. So there's no limitation for the age. But what happens is that reverse lender, or the FHA, will really go low on the loan to value. So you might see 20% loan to value. You might see 30, depends on their age. So if the non-borrowing spouse is young, like that example, they can just borrow very little.
If anything.
Yeah, but if it's just a couple of years, it won't be too much of a difference. If it's like 61 or 62.
But when you say non-qualified, that means that younger spouse could not be on title?
Cannot be on title, cannot be on the loan, but just their age will, because they know that they are they're married, they allow that. Yeah.
They allow that.
They allow that, but
they just can't be
on title and loan. Yeah, the whole idea is reverse mortgage is a retirement, sort of a retirement loan for that person who came of age. If someone is 62 years old, someone is 20 years old, you know, it's the senior is retirement, right? So that's the rightfully so, and they allow them to do that, but it's just to lower the amount of borrowed money, because they would allow the younger spouse live there.
Okay.
Right? So that's why you want to look, because they are looking at a much longer life expectancy. Meaning that someone is 80 years old, someone is 20 years old, or 29 hopefully. It's like, you know, they're looking at 50 years rather than 20 years. That's their ideology, or the way they're thinking. Please.
So how often can they get reviewed? Meaning someone's 62, can they get re-reviewed in 10 years?
Sure.
You know, to get qualified for more money?
Yeah. As often as you want. I can review every other week or every month. I mean, if they're like 61 years old in 11 months, let's review them just next month. And if it's not enough, let's review them next year. If it's not enough, then, I mean, we work together for as long as it takes. So yeah, no limitation on that. Please.
So the spouse can live in there, you know, in the case, like you said, if they're younger, or whoever, they can even if they're the same age, spouse could continue living in there after the person
Of course.
is on the same.
Yes. Yeah, they allow for that. So yeah, so pre-quals, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I do have one more question.
Sure.
I'm stuck on this age thing.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so say you have a couple where they both are over 62, but one is significantly older. So
They
like
go
one-
with the younger.
Well, let's just say one is 62 and one is 70.
All right.
So the percentage they borrow is based on
62.
their age, right?
Yes.
It would be based on the younger spouse.
That is correct. That is
So
correct.
the only way to get the higher percentage would be if the younger spouse didn't go in title.
No.
You can't do
You
that.
can't do that, yeah. They're married, unless they're divorced and she's not on title, or, like I've had cases where the couple are divorced, she's no longer living there, she's not on title, or she's on the loan because they just got divorced, but the husband is doing a refi and then taking off the ex-wife off of the loan, or the wife taking off, like in that other example I had where we paid out the husband. The wife they were both on loan, the current loan. We paid out the husband, paid off the loan, and refinanced under her age. So if they're married, they go with the younger borrower, and they both, because it's FHA, it's a community loan, again, both have to be on the title. Yeah, so the younger.
They have to.
Yes.
They can't opt.
John, I have a question for you.
Sure.
When it comes to refinance it in itself, how many times can a person refinance a house within a year?
The rule of thumb is every 6 months, you
Okay.
usually can refinance, but with reverse, I usually don't see a refinance happening. The reason being the loan is growing and they are just not paying or making the payments. So, and restrictions are just being added, they're not removed. So my experience is when they get a reverse mortgage, they can always do a conventional. Like I just had one last year. It was a 2-in-a-lot, beautiful townhome in refinance of the reverse under conventional. But refinancing with reverse usually is not as often. You can always recast your loan, or when you pay down the loan, you can call the lender and have them recast or do stuff with the servicer. But it usually doesn't happen that we do a refinance with reverse. But on a conventional or on any loan, usually every 6 months is the norm, and that's usually earlier than that. There's always, it doesn't make any sense. They don't benefit from it.
Suppose there's a married couple that are elderly and they get a reverse mortgage and the property is in a trust
Sure.
and both of the elderly people pass away and their beneficiary could be, let's say, a daughter.
Sure.
What would be the status of the reverse mortgage at that point?
Great question. They usually are given up to 2 months to inform the lender of the passing, and then tell the lender what they want to do. They're usually given a year, can be extended up to 3 years sometimes, to do the thing. But even though they're on the trust, doesn't mean they can live there. The reverse mortgage has to be paid. Like, let's say the husband and wife were the borrowers, right? They got it on their individual name, and they record it under the trust, and the son is the beneficiary. So if both pass away, the parents pass away, doesn't mean the son can now live there on the reverse. What happens
Sell
is
the property?
they can sell, yeah. What I mean is, like, they can't keep the reverse. He has to pay off the reverse under a refi or sale.
So
He
let's
can't
say-
have a reverse when he's only 30 years old.
Okay, so let's say the property is worth 800,000
Sure.
and the reverse mortgage is 300,000.
Sure.
So he can sell the property for 800,000 and pay off the 300,000 and
I get the remainder.
the remainder of
Pay
the money.
your commission and everybody else's
Oh.
commission. But keep in mind, if they initially got a 300,000, like 20 years ago, chances are their loan is not 300,000.
Right.
So you gotta make sure the reverse lender, every month, they will send a statement, shows the balance, shows everything. So make sure you get that statement from that client, so there are no surprises. I always say surprises are good for birthdays, but not for real estate. So make sure that you know the current loan amount, and then, they get the remainder, pay commissions, and that's it. So, we're here, and then thinking outside the box. So, if we can go to the next slide. We do all sort of loans. I'm from a brokerage office. I joined them from Wells Fargo like almost 7 years ago. So we do jumbo, VA, FHA, reverse, hard money, commercial. So whenever you throw me a bone or a client, I will look at everything. Like, they qualify for this loan and this loan and this loan. This benefits them most. This benefits them like second most. So we can work together for as long as it takes to get that escrow closed for you or get that client ready for you. So, and then next slide is pretty much the Q&A. Any questions that we can get to, please?
I'm sorry, I heard part of, as far as the time frame, okay, if the property is in a trust and both of them pass away, what is the time frame that you said?
It's like any normal, on a normal loan is the same, a month to 60 days for the initial processing. Then after the final determination, it's usually about 1 year or 2 years max.
So
I've
they-
had, sorry.
So if say for instance, if the family chose to hold on to the property, then they would have enough time
Refinance.
to refinance the way they're going to pay it off, and they could get up to a year to do that.
Sometimes, yeah, as long as they can provide reasons for that delay.
For the
There's
delay.
usually a refinance, they have the income, they explain, and refinance 30 days, 60 days. That's usually the escrow period, that's why they have that. And then not, they will extend. So they are given enough. I have had cases where there was a reverse, an agent called me, and the parents had passed away, and one of the heirs was living there and not paying the HOA or anything, and it was like 2-3 years already. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but a lot of times it's FHA, you know, they might not get to that loan, but the rule of thumb is 30 days to 60 days, then a year, usually what they're given. Please.
Now, we know realistically the heirs don't call the mortgage company when someone passes.
That's right.
So, what is the
Especially if
penalty?
they live there. Huh?
Right, right. So, is there like a penalty or
The penalty is like they get closer to losing the house. Meaning
if
that,
they're paying it though?
oh, if they're paying it, yeah, it's just not, it's the wrong thing to do. I mean, the penalty, I mean, the penalty, it all depends on, it's a non-recourse loan. It's an FHA loan, right? So, the not telling the lender, if they're paying it, right, they're just still having the, what are they paying, by the way? They're not paying
They're
it.
not paying.
They're not paying it. So they're not paying,
Right.
and then the lender, yeah, unless they're paying it down, which is still the wrong thing to do. The best thing to do, how about this? As agents, as your client's agents,
I'm just asking.
of course,
you know,
yeah, yeah. As your client's agents, if
Because
you
that's a
have to-
real question, because
Of course.
it really happens.
Of course, yeah. Like I just gave you an example. 3 years, they haven't got a notice of default yet. They are about to get one. The HOA is already passed through several years. So, but as an agent, like me as the loan agent, you as a realtor, you always want to give the right advice to your client. You want to tell them what is good for them. What would be good for them would be telling the lender right away, and then try to refinance or sell or get the time period, because that day they're just like, oh, are they gonna call me now? I'm just buying groceries, but they're gonna call me. It's like they have that guilt all the time, right? So the best way is just inform them right away, get the time, 30 days, 60 days, or a year, and then do the refi, plan ahead, do a like a co-signer, whatever they need to do. And then this also helps you usually, like if they sell, they can buy something affordable to them. You know, you can help them do it right rather than to jeopardize their property. Yes.
Okay, so someone dies,
Sure.
we sell the property, that makes it probate now, correct?
No, if it's in a trust, no.
If it's not in a trust.
If it's not in a
It's
trust,
probate.
that is correct.
So if they're going through probate, well, I guess you guys will work with them throughout the probate
Of course,
process?
the reverse mortgage will work with them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's same like a normal loan, because the lenders are the same type of people, right? So same type of clients. Yeah, and it's just a reverse. So the loan has grown, but the process is pretty much similar.
I got you.
Yes.
Last question.
Sure.
Has anyone ever outlived the term for a reverse mortgage?
There's no term. You live there. If you're 120 years old, good for you. If you're more than 90 years old, you have 30. If you live on, good for you. No, like, they usually estimate it for like 40 years, the lenders, but if someone outlives there, power to them. Yes, please. Oh, yes, sorry, yeah.
Oh, he just beat me to it. That was the same question about the probate, because it takes longer with
Sure,
probate.
that's why they give you a year, or even extend that.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have to.
they're gonna work with you. Yeah, yeah, they work with you.
This kind of relates to the same thing. Okay, now in regard to a probate, if the family or whomever dropped the ball and didn't do what they were supposed to do, and the reverse mortgage holder files a notice of default. Okay, and in the process of the probate, they are trying to sell it. Do the reverse companies normally, will they work with them to allow, say if they find a buyer, will they normally work with them with regard to the notice of default to allow them to sell that property?
Depends. Like, I will tell you my experience on a normal loan, right? Not just take out the reverse. Assume you're talking about a loan that has got notice of default and there's an auction date, right? If your auction date comes, lender is not going to wait, right? But if you get the notice of default, you still have time. Usually it's a 3-month out.
Right.
So if they get the notice of default today, and it's a reverse or a normal loan, they still have enough time for a buyer that comes in today to still close and not let the auction happen. But if they start thinking about it after the auction day, I don't think it doesn't matter if it's a reverse or a normal loan.
But if they're in the process, if they're in escrow, and basically I guess they contacted.
Sure. They will get a payoff quote, yeah.
They will, in most instances, would they normally allow them to close escrow if, say, if the dates, say, for instance, the date is coming up on the sale of the escrow, on the notice of default. But they're not due, they have a buyer and they're not due to close escrow, say, for a period of time. What is the possibility of them allowing them to close escrow?
They will, as long as before the auction date. If
But
it's
if
too
it's after
late,
the auction, they're gonna sell it.
they will. Same like a normal loan.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, but technically, there's no payment, so you
There's
wouldn't
no
even get
payment.
that part of, would
There,
you?
yeah, there's no payment, but there is the payment being added to the loan, right? So there is the payment, but it's just being added to the loan, that's how you
No,
know.
but I know in her case,
Uh-huh.
you know, how would you even get to foreclosure if there's no payment at all?
Because they're calling the loan due because the parents have passed
And the
away.
family didn't
And
pay
they
down.
never told them it's 2 years, and it's, yeah, they're not following guidelines, or they are not living there. Theoretically, if the parents are still alive and they have a reverse, but they are just in hospital, they went to Greece to live there because it's better weather, you know, they can still call the loan.
I had a client that did a reverse payments, they just took out the home equity. And, we had problems a little bit with the title, they did have a trust, but Champion sent them a foreclosure notice. And when she started calling, we were like about 6 months from the death of their father.
Sure.
They were becoming foreclosures. We would keep calling and, telling them, providing proof that, the mother was listed. And then we were trying to say that there was just an issue with a third, and they took the family.
Yeah.
So they.
Thanks for sharing that, yeah. They're serious, I'm telling you. The only type of loans that are still serious about doing investigations are VA loans and FHA loans. And reverse falls in their bandwagon, which is the FHA. So, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody gets, but I've had cases like where my client called me and said, oh, there was an investigator in my house asking if I lived there. I said, okay, I hope you said I lived there. I said, yeah.
What did you do?
They get a list of when somebody died or something.
So, and then, thank you very much. Any other questions that I didn't get to? Thanks so much for, make sure you leave your,
Information.
thank you. If you leave your business cards, I will send you some, the slides and the cheat sheets, so.